Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today I am going to try and explain how to use untap.in. What is untap.in? Untap is a web browser based game to where you can play almost any TCG that you could possibly think of. Now, today I'm only going to go over the Magic the Gathering portion because that's what I play. So, go to your preferred web browser and type in untap.in to the search bar. You'll be brought up to this. This is where you'd register. So you can play this little video, tell you a little bit more about it, but I just told you basically you got it. So select any username, put in an email, and then type a password, hit agree to terms, and register. They will send you one email and one email only. This is to confirm your email address. Other than that, I've been using Untap for about 2 years now, and I have never received another email from them. So, you do that. Once after that, you can hit login and set that. There you go. Now, this is will be brought to, except you'll have actual games because there's never no games going on ever. There we go. So, sometimes it takes a little bit to load, so you just got to be patient with it. It is a little clunky, but you can't beat free 99 now, can you? So, over here we have all the users. You can search for a user by doing the magnifying glass, obviously. You can select certain users to be friends. So, these are all the friends that I play with every once in a while. And then your channels over here is I'm in the MTG and the beginners, and then the untap updates. Blech. Lost my tongue there for a minute. So what this does is you have different chats that you can talk to anybody and everybody, more or less. So that would be under here in chats. So this is all the stuff from the MTD chat, which I honestly don't use all too much. So now you have your tabs up here. You have the chat, we just went through, decks, games, account, wiki, bugs, and feedback. And then your logout button. So the main things that you'll be concentrating on is the decks and the games. So they do have, where you see this power up, a monthly paid subscription. Without that subscription, the only things it locks you out of is you can only have 10 decks at any one time. If you pay for the subscription, you can have infinite amount of decks. You cannot have a picture on your battlefield, such as like a playmat picture, which really doesn't affect. It's just a cosmetic thing. And you cannot create games of more than 4 players, which, I mean, if you're trying to go above and beyond Commander, that's the only reason you'd use that for. But for my purposes, it's not really necessary to do the paid subscription. So, anyways, you're going to go here, and I'm going to show you first how you can actually get rid of a deck. Well, nope, that's not it. You can arrow over, and you see this X, that's to delete. You can copy, and then you can actually buy the deck. This up here will tell you the approximate amount of the deck. And then, so I'm going to delete this deck. It's going to ask if I want to. I'm going to say, yep, sure do. There you go. Now I have 8 out of 10 decks. So to create a deck, you're going to obviously click create deck. Duh. Type in the title, so test deck. Now it's automatically going to have MTG selected for you, but if not, select it. But these are all the different TCGs that it does, so if you ever want to play those, yeah, go for it. Also, you can create cubes on here, just as an FYI. But we're just going to go on deck building here. Now, first and foremost, you have the deck format. You can select these formats, and the thing that it will tell, the only thing this really does is it will tell you if your deck is legal or not. So if you insert a card that is banned, it will shine in red. Let's So here, faithless loading. I can't spell. So type in a card. You can even type part of the name or whatever, enter it, and see it'll shine in red. This is an illegal card to add. So I'm going to put it underneath the Starts in Deck tab. And it automatically adds 4 of the card. If I want less, I could hit this minus here. Or if it's like a basic land, you want more, you can hit the plus, and there you go. But obviously, since it's shining in red, it's telling me that this is illegal to use in Modern, so I gotta back out of it. So to delete a card from the deck, you're gonna arrow over it, if it'll load. I'm not gonna favorite the card. Arrow over it, come on. And hit this X right here. There you go. Now it disappears. So, there's that. Another easy thing that I really like about this is if you have an electronic version of your deck, or say like you have it typed out on a Word document or what have you, or you just want to copy and paste from a website to test the deck, you can click right here, the 3 lines and the plus, paste deck from text. So I copied earlier my bounce house deck, but it's not going to paste because it's being irritating, but you get the point. So I can paste, so if I hit deck, it'll paste whatever cards I enter into the deck. If I have like my sideboard as a list, I can then paste the sideboard, hit import, and it'll import all of them for me. For those of you playing Commander, whatever your commander may be, so mine, Niv, see, and you don't even have to type the whole name, it'll search the database, so everything that has the word Niv is here. So I'm going to do Peyrune, that's my preferred commander, and I am going to throw him under the Starts in Play tab, which says Commander. Now, obviously I have to go down blah blah blah, and there you go. Starts in Deck obviously makes sense. Your sideboard tab, put it under that. If you have tokens that you want to have at the ready automatically for whatever deck, your tokens are here. And then discard is basically your graveyard. Expel is exile, and face down pile is completely separate. So shouldn't, when you're deck building, you only really need to worry about the Starts in Play if you're a commander player, Starts in Deck for any other deck, sideboard for standard, modern, pioneer, and then tokens if you have any tokens, you want them readily available. Other than that, there you go. That's how to build the deck. Now, forgot something. See, unsaved changes. Oh no, I messed up. So I go back to it, and it'll still have this, but the deck isn't saved. So I have to hit Save Deck or Revert Changes up here. Always remember to save your deck, because if you don't, it won't be proper when you try to play it. So there's how to build the deck. No problem. Now, for the games portion, there is some things I really want to go over and that I really recommend. So first and foremost, if you are trying to look for a game, you just scroll down until you find either the specific name. So this one, it says EDH Discord, competitive EDH. This is the title that whoever created this has used. So you can type anything into the title you wish. Excuse me. So, with that, you also have the names of the creators up here, whoever is inside the game at that time. Then if you want to join game, you just click join game, and there you go, you're in. Now, I'm not going to join the game right now because I don't want to do that, but what I will do is if you want to create your own game, hit new game. So you enter the title right here. So say I wanted to face Bobby or something. I could say Bobby right here or something. Now, if you're using this typically outside of like on your own, you would say like what kind of game you're looking for. So I'd say modern comp. Obviously, I'm going to hit the game, not draft, not cube. I can select a format, but it really doesn't matter, to be honest. And then play style, like instead of hitting comp up here, they can see that, but and you can see on the side here, some people say relaxed, optimized, beginner. A lot of people don't really pay attention to that, so I just put comp inside the title so they automatically know. You can select how many players you want. So for our purposes here, just to go through a quick rundown, I'm going to hit solo, so that means only me in the game. And I'm going to stop the mirror guy from doing anything. Okay, so normally when you start a game, if you do not have, oh, that's another drawback from not having a monthly subscription, is if you do not have the monthly subscription, then you have to wait a full minute before your game will be posted, which, not that bad. Okay, so this is the problem that actually happens often. You create a game or you enter a game and nothing happens. It said up top here that the game was created, but nothing happens. So you just have to simply refresh. And doop 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 doop. There you go. This will be the enter, and then see, it just threw me in. Sometimes it'll throw you in. Sometimes you have to hit enter game, but it'll show up. So that's not a huge problem. So now you select your deck, whatever you want. I guess I'll just use Bounce House just for now. Okay, so now we are inside of the game. Typically, the bottom half of the bar in the middle is my field, and the opponent's field is on the other side. So, first off, the bar in the middle shows whose turns it is. So, Zokingito, that's me, turn 1 of 1. This is how you change phases so you can alert your opponent. So, I'm in first phase, go to combat, go to phase 2, and then end phase. So, to chat with your opponent, you have a little chat box right here to tell what's happening. Not only can you type in it, but it'll actually tell you every action that will happen inside the game, such as if I draw a card, if I play a card, if I look at the top card of my deck, blah, blah, blah. It'll tell you what happens for you and your opponent. So this is how you can make sure everything is kosher, no one's cheating, anything like that. Everything is as it should be. Now, with that, I would like you to know this button right here. These are also on the side buttons that you'll often, or some of them you'll often use, but hotkeys is something that I really want to focus on. I really, really, really encourage everyone to look at this list and to not so much memorize, but your play experience will be a lot more streamlined if you know these buttons, because it'll make your life hella easier. So I just wanted to run through some of those abilities, or some of the hotkeys right now. Now obviously you've seen, if you look at that hotkeys, there are global hotkeys and hover card hotkeys. The difference is global hotkeys, if you hit that key, it'll automatically do what it says it will do, no questions asked. The hover card hotkeys, I have to be hovering my mouse over a card and then hit the key for it to do the action that I want it to. So the first key that you need to really know is C. If you hit C, it'll draw a card. But the cool thing is you can type a number and then hit C and it'll draw that number of cards. So if I hit C once, I will simply draw a single card. And see, it even says right here, Zokingito has drawn 1 card from deck to the hand. Now, if I wanted to draw a full hand of 7, I would hit 7C, but since I would start with 7, I've already drawn 1, I need to draw 6. So I'm going to type 6C. There you go. There's all 6. Now, obviously, it's kind of hard to see some of these cards, so I'm going to hit the plus. It's a little easier, but you can't exactly read. So if you hover over any card, they will display on the right for you to read their abilities and all that things. So there's that, which is pretty useful sometimes. Now, some of the other action cards is, so my turn, I'm going to click and just drag it onto the field. And there you go. Now, that's turn one. I'm going to say in turn, I'm going to hit E, and that's going to pass turn to my opponent. Now, obviously, I'm in a solo, and now my dogs are going nuts. Obviously, I'm in a solo match, so I can't pass the turn. But whenever it is not your turn, this bar will be red. Whenever it is your turn, this bar will be green. So, that is something to keep in mind. Now, E will automatically pass the turn to your opponent, and so say it's during my turn and I decided to cast Delver. So hover over whatever you want a card to tap and hit the space bar. It'll tap the card. Then click drag Delver. Delver is now there. Hooray, hoo, hurrah. So that's the difference between the global and the hover. Hover, I have to be over the card, because if I'm just out here over here, I can hit space all I want. It's not going to do anything. But C is a global hotkey. I hit C, it'll draw the card. There you go. Now I hit E, pass to my opponent. They pass to me. Now, instead of going, like, say I had 5 lands, instead of going over each one and hitting space to untap it, no, screw that. Easy way to do it, hit X, it'll untap everything that you control. Creatures, lands, everything. Then hit C to draw a card. So normally when you begin your turn, you're going to hit X and C. Now I drew another land, so I play that, and then tap tap, play Boomerang. Now say that they had, I'm going to say this land is, this Delver is a land over here. I want to show my opponent I'm targeted. Now I could either one tell target, I can't spell, target Delver. And obviously my opponent would know, okay, you're targeting Delver, bounce that. Or instead of typing all that, there are options that I can look at when I'm doing this. Now, obviously you can use these options to, rather than the hotkeys. Some of these don't have really hotkeys to them. So, like say you could pivot, so that's the same thing as tapping. Or I'm going to hit O on that and O on another thing. Or O on something and then target that. There you go. So I'm showing him, hey, this is targeting that. Now, what I basically just did, that's one of the hover keys, is I hit O when I'm hovering it. It says select something to target. I'm going to click Delver. There you go. So I'm going to show the opponent I'm targeting that. And they should know, okay, oh, see, and I just put Delver back in my hand. Yes, you can click and drag and put things back to your hand if you so wish. So this is something that's very useful. If you search, like, say I crack a Wooded Foothills, go find a mountain in my deck. So I'm going to tap, crack. Obviously, I would lose a life. So life, left click to gain life. And see life change from 20 to 1. Or right click to lose life. And then the black is usually used for poison counters or something other like that. So I'm going to lose a life, arrow over, and I'm going to 3 lines, find a card. Now, when it opens up your deck, everything is going to be in alphabetical order according to the first card name, or first letter of the card, instead of, like, if it's the, it's still going to put it under T. Just be aware of that. But alphabetical order, simple, easy. Yeah, I know I said I'm going to crack for a mountain, but whatever. So, say this is a mountain. If I'm going to show it to my opponent to make sure, there you go. Click and drag, and as soon as I hit exit out of this, so I can no longer see my deck is not shuffled. I just searched for a card, so I need to shuffle the deck. The hotkey for that is V. I hit V, Zokingito has shuffled his deck, or their deck. So there you go. And this would go on the battlefield. Now, another good use for that is if you search for a card and have to put it to your hand, I can click, drag it on the battlefield so my opponent knows what it is. Then I click and drag it back to my hand. So, there's that. Another thing to go over is mulligans. So, say you have an opening hand, you don't want mulligan. Instead of taking each card and putting it to your deck, and then shuffling it and drawing a new card, there's actually a function in here already. So, on the hand, oh, nope, it's, where'd it go? Well, I guess that's only in the beginning of the game, maybe, or am I just dumb? There we go. Okay, so it's these 3 lines here, I'm sorry. These 3 lines here, click this, mulligan. If I do this, it'll mulligan my entire hand. Mulligan -1 used to be for the old mulligan rule, but now we use the London, so we hit mulligan. It's going to ask us to confirm yes. So, takes my 4 cards from hand to deck, shuffles the deck, and draws 4 cards for me. Automatic, don't have to do anything. Simple, easy. This number here will always show the cards in my hand, which obviously I can count anyway, so I don't really see. I highly recommend everyone jump into this and definitely explore. But another thing that I really want to go over is the global keys A and Q. So if opponent plays a spell and I hit A, it's going to say alert response. It means, hold up, I have a response, I have something to do, wait a moment. So that's a quick way to tell your opponent, hold on, I'm going to counterspell, or I'm going to do something before that resolves, blah, 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 before they start playing their other spells and they continue. Or if, well, I'm a blue player, obviously, so if I have 2 blue open or something, and a player plays a spell, and they're, instead of asking every 5 seconds, hey, are you going to counter this? Hey, you're going to counter this. Q means I have no response. Let it resolve, do whatever you want. No response. Oh, they played a spell, hold on. Alert response, now I'm going to do something. So, that is something very useful to do. Other than that, you can look at the top cards. Say if you were using Ancient Stirrings, you can flip the top of your card. Another thing that I could see happening is if an opponent asks to see your hand, say they thought sees you or something, you would go over here to hand. Nope, you're gonna, go to the 3 lines. Jeez, it's been a while. And you're going to either keep revealed or reveal all once. So if they have this little eyeball, that means that your opponent can see what the card is in your hand. And then it says that I showed all these cards. Now, then I can conceal each, and there you go, can't see them. So, ta-da, no more eyeballs. For tokens, something that is there, so earlier in the deck building portion, I said if you have a token that you're going to use constantly, put it in the tokens tab. Here's how you get that. You would hit this plus. These are the recent cards that I've looked for, but that's not in my deck. If they were in my deck, it would be above this, but below the search card. But say someone, I don't know, Rabbit Hybridization's me, so I'm going to go ape. So 3/3 ape token. We can go through. This is to choose like the card art, but obviously there's only that one. So I'm gonna hit that, and again put it right into play, and there you go. Coolio. So trying to think of anything else that would possibly have an issue here. And so if something happens, say, all right, game 1's over, we need to go to game 2. 3 things. We have the game menu. Finish and play another game is gonna be what you want. So you're gonna hit finish playing. There you go. It's gonna scoop the entire deck, put it back into your deck, and see it says here has been reset and shuffled, so it's already shuffled for you. You can select another deck, keep existing deck, or keep existing and open the sideboard. You're going to click that, And then to put a card from sideboard, you're going to click and drag it into your deck here. And if you're going to take a card out, click and drag there, and you can click them all and drag and put that there. There you go. Save game for next game. Now it's going to tell them here I sideboard are cards from deck and cards from deck to sideboard. Ta-da. So, when you click this and you hit finish and play games, you should be able to click who won the game. If you click who won, it'll automatically give the turn to the loser. If you don't do this, then the turn will be randomized. So just be honest. If you forget that, make sure that the opponent or the loser of the game has the the priority to choose. So there you have that. Keep existing deck. It's going to keep it as is. If you need to roll a dice or anything, you have dice options here for a D6, D10, a 20, or a coin. So heads, and it'll show in the actions chat over there. If I'm going to roll a D10, I get a 7, so on and so forth. Everything is randomized for you. So, highly recommend you go over the list of hotkeys. That'll help make things so much simpler. Oh, I did forget this. So, say a card is destroyed, I'm going to arrow over and hit D. It's going to hit to the graveyard. You can click anyone's graveyard at any time, and it'll show that. Say someone paths my Delver. The hotkey for that is S, so exiled. There we go. So, and this is a face down pile if you need that for some any reason. So, there you go. That should be all that I can think of. And yeah, there you go. Should be a-okay for that. So, hope this has been very informative for the rest of you. Have a good day and good luck.